I was just thinking about UFOs, for example.
Yes.
I
was waiting for this.
Yeah.
I was waiting.
He actually said prior to
I love
this chat,
UFOs.
he wanted to talk about UFOs.
I was reading, once again, is that, look, I'm still a small boy who likes bombers and battleships. Okay, so reading the story of the Manhattan Project, okay, is absolutely fascinating. I might add, I'm one of those people who thinks killing tens of thousands of people, bombing cities at one time is actually a war crime. There is no way that can be morally justified. Okay, is that the, if we wanted to liberate Europe from the Nazis or Japan from the militarists who were running the country in the 40s, there are a lot better ways to do it than by killing the women and children of Hamburg and the women and children of Hiroshima. Okay. But having said that, is that the technological effort in the Manhattan Project was absolutely breathtaking. We know that many of the Manhattan scientists thought that that bomb shouldn't have been used once they'd built it. Anyway, that's a moral issue for them to deal with in their makeup. But
have you seen Oppenheimer?
Yeah, Oppenheimer. Yeah, the rest of them. I mean, it's once you've done it, what do you think was going to happen? But anyway, don't get me wrong. I think the Nazis had to be stopped, but I don't think the women and children of Hamburg were the big threat. But anyway, no, everything. Nuclear fission was discovered in 1938. Okay, they didn't have it before then, and it had been weaponized by 1945. The Nagasaki bomb was, and the first one, the one they tested in the New Mexico desert, used plutonium. They didn't have plutonium until 1940. It's absolutely breathtaking, and it was all kept pretty much a secret. No one knew about it except the guys sending information back to Moscow because they were communists. But we didn't know what was going on. Suddenly, there's an atomic bomb, 1945. Wow, where did that come from? We didn't know. Oh no, those huge factories that we built, the bomber bases, all done in plain sight. No one knew what was going on. Well, it's a good thing that sort of thing's over and that we don't have those sort of secret projects that no one knows about going on. And you say, well, hang on, is that they were able to do that in the 40s, and it's 80 years since. The chances that someone has been able to replicate something of the scale of the Manhattan Project has got to be non-zero. So, who knows what stuff is lurking out there. And it's really kind of remarkable that we haven't seen violence of that scale, spectacular violence of cities being destroyed in an instant since 1945. So you wonder what on earth has been happening since then. Because the forces that were at work that made people think they had to destroy cities in 1945, I don't know if people have become any better since then. I mean, the sorts of people who, maybe they think they're doing their duty. Okay, let's say that. They think they've got a sense of duty and, they think they've got to, invade Poland. I mean, there were people who in the German army thought it was their duty to invade Poland. Just like the people in the RAF thought it was their duty to bomb Hamburg. They're not quite equivalent, but nevertheless they're things that shouldn't happen. And likewise in Asia Pacific, similar sorts of things. The forces that make people do those sorts of things, don't think they've gone away. So what people are spending their time doing.
I think people are opening their eyes a bit more nowadays to that sort of stuff. Like, for example, I feel like in the past, if you ever were to talk about some sort of secret government project behind the scenes, you'd be called a conspiracy theorist straight away. Whereas now I think people are starting to sort of go, well, yeah, there definitely probably is something going on. And I found out recently that actually the term conspiracy theorist was coined by the American government back in to disprove when the whole JFK assassination went down. So to sort of have this sticker term to discredit anyone that that were sort of rebutted against it. And I found that really interesting because, of course.
But I mean, there are conspiracies and conspiracies.
Yeah.
Is that there are, sort of without sort of naming names, I mean, there are some conspiracy theories that sort of get personally nasty. There are other, and I wouldn't even say, I think, talking about conspiracy, the idea that there is a conspiracy is, don't think you even have to use the word conspiracy. Is that it's just a secret government project, and in some sense it's perfectly legitimate. Is that you can say, but decent people will get caught up in it because I know it's defending the nation and defending freedom. I don't know, but once again, is that the fact that we had in our recent history the Manhattan Project, which has got all sorts of fascinating attributes of, wonder weapons and weapons of mass destruction, completely hidden from the public. The idea that something even sort of less threatening, but even sort of more marvellous, couldn't have been done is kind of saying, well, surely all of the ways that we developed during the Manhattan Project to do things, we could do something spectacular like that again. And then the people who keep seeing UFOs, for example, is that I think you've got to be, evidence-based. If people are seeing stuff, then there's stuff. So, it doesn't have to be spacemen. It easily could be hypersonic, scramjet-powered vehicles, electromagnetic stuff, all sorts of whatever tech that we only have got a faint clue about.
Well, how about those drones that they were flying over New Jersey?
Yes,
and
that's
then
right, yeah.
The government come out weeks later and said, "Oh, they're ours." But up until that point, they could have been eventually. And up until that point, they could have been anything. These car-sized drones. They were staying up for about 6 hours, and people just seen them. People had videos of them, and no one was claiming. And then the American government came out and said, "Oh, these are things we've been working on." What I heard through the grapevine and all my trusted sources was that they could have been looking for weapons they lost, and some using some sort of gamma radiation. I'm not a scientist, so I won't try and articulate on that. But
no, but gamma rays are cool because they're the most energetic ones. So if you're going to have any kind of rays,
gamma
go for
rays
the gamma
there.
rays. Yeah.